Hey, good evening and welcome everybody. Welcome to LWN Network and Liberty Warrior Nation 2 on Facebook, Rumble, X, and YouTube, X, and Rumble, and Facebook and YouTube. That's what it is. I hope everybody's had a wonderful week. I know it's been a busy week and the news isn't stopping. There is some great stuff that just came out for the good guys, let's just say. Stuff we've been waiting on as far as subpoenas, arrest, and information, not coming from hearsay, but coming from documents. The FBI is entangled like we thought all along. Hillary, Obama, Bill, and more. We've got a lot to cover tonight, and I'm really excited about this show. We also had an arrest of someone that I want to talk about. And then we're going to cover later on, just so you know, Tim Tebow. He's got a foundation and something he's trying to get passed in the legislature and made into legislation called the Renewed Hope Act. And I want to get you guys up to date on that because it is about saving young children from predators. And I've got some disturbing information, unfortunately, on that. But we're going to get up to date on it so you guys can know. Maybe you can help out by pushing, your local people to be able to get this into Congress and get a vote on it and pass it into a bill because it's been sitting there since 2024. We've got that we need to update and talk about. And, just so much other stuff as well. So welcome to the show, you guys. I'll be right back and we'll get this party started in 30 seconds. And I'll see you in a minute. So today is another one of those days, you guys, that I feel like I haven't stopped looking at stuff and getting updates on all the different things that I wanted to cover today. It's crazy. It goes from breaking to new information and everything constantly. So I'm excited, like I said, to talk about this tonight. And hi to everyone in chat. It's good to see each and every one of you here. You mods, you're always here on time. You're always welcoming everybody into the chat. So I really appreciate that each and every day on every platform. You just really make it feel like a safe place for people to come and chat and have a good time and share opinions and information with us and enjoy the show alongside of us. So you mods, kudos to you guys. Love you guys. You've been here a long time with LWN, and it's just you're never unappreciated, just so you know. So it's good to see you guys. We're going to get off to a start. Before I do, I want to let you know LW is still around and kicking. I think he's recovering. I didn't talk to him today. He reached out to me and I reached out to him, but then we missed each other. And so he's either sleeping and recovering or maybe he's up to no good. Who knows with LW? But if you guys didn't catch the show, he is on the healing path here. He is getting well. His surgery did go well and he's going to be back as soon as he can, but obviously he still needs some more rest. So with that being said, let's get going here. So the first thing I wanted to cover tonight, which was really amazing to me, and this might have slipped under the radar because there's been so much news about these big names that we've been talking about for many years. Like I said, ex-presidents, Secretary of State, different people in the, government, and it's just been crazy what's been going on. So there's a lady named Dana Williamson. She is Gavin Newsom's ex-chief of staff. She was arrested 2 days ago on federal conspiracy and fraud charges, along with obstruction of justice, false statements, and tax crimes. And that is a very big deal. So I've been telling you guys all along that it isn't just the big names. They are little names that we don't know about, we don't really pay attention to, but they are the ones that allow the corruption, they facilitate the corruption, they protect certain people and certain things, and she's one of them. So she was charged by a federal grand jury with conspiracy to commit bank and and wire fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and obstruction justice, subscribing to false tax returns, making false statements. U.S. Attorney Eric Grant announced the 23-count indictment was unsealed following Williamson's arrest. So the charges are the results of a 3-year investigation in partnership with the IRS, Criminal Investigation, and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and FBI Special Agent from Sacramento. So when we think nothing's been going on, or we kind of get fatigued and tired of this has been going on for 3 years. And she is the chief of staff of Gavin Newsom. And we know Gavin Newsom isn't on the up and up either. All this dirt is finally coming out on these people. It says that she was disguising personal luxuries as business expenses, especially to claim improper tax deductions or to willfully file fraudulent tax returns. And that's a serious criminal offense with severe consequences. The IRS is going to pursue these charges and charges against anyone who deliberately does exploit their business for personal enrichment. The indictment also alleges that Williamson co-conspired with business associates to create a false backdated contract after receiving a civil subpoena in January of 2024. It was regarding Paycheck Protection Program. Remember those PPP loans that businesses were getting to stay afloat? Well, they were made to Williams' business. Williamson also described and subscribed to false returns for her taxes, claiming more than $1 million in business deductions for what were actually personal, non-deductible expenditures, such as private jet travel, luxury hotels, and home furnishings, designer handbags, as well as deductions for no-show jobs for friends and family. So I think this is only the beginning of them nabbing these people that took advantage of these PPP loans. I mean, she was a big person in government under Gavin Newsom and was doing all of this. And you got to remember, that cost us money. That is corruption. That is everything that I just labeled in here. She's got 23 counts against her. And of course, when she was walking out of court, she didn't want to talk to the press and didn't want to say anything. But I was awestruck at all the information they had on her, and they've gave her to over 3 years. We keep hearing these stories over and over of people taking advantage of us and our money and our tax money, and it going to places it shouldn't go. So this is a very good start to these underlings and not just the top dogs. But now we're going to get to the top dogs, because this is one of the big things tonight. The House Oversight Committee Chairman, James Comer, issued subpoenas in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Chairman Comer sent one subpoena to the Department of Justice for the complete Epstein files and more for depositions from former officials who include former Attorney General Bill Barr, remember Bill Barr? Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, and Merrick Garland, also former FBI directors Robert Smaller, James Comey, and both of these people are now former Secretary of State. Hillary Clinton also got a subpoena, and so did her husband, former President Bill Clinton. These are the big names that we have been waiting to see, that are, we want them to pay their due, right? We want them to be brought to justice. So we've got the subpoenas that have gone out and stuff, and I thought that was a very big deal. Those are the big names. We know that that's just one aspect, but we know what the Epstein files, what they have done, the Democrats have done, trying to nail Donald Trump with these Epstein files. So Donald Trump has come out and made a statement about the Democrats, because remember, they said that he was involved and they unearthed all these new texts and all this stuff, but they left out the people and redacted the people that were saying this. And we found out that the two ladies that supposedly were part of those emails actually already freed Donald Trump from any wrongdoing in court, and under, saying, hey, he's never done anything. I think I read that the last show that I did. So Donald Trump did come out. He's not very happy, and he said that now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try and deflect from their disastrous shutdown and all of their other failures, I am going to be asking AG Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, the bank guy, Chase as well, and many other people and institutions. We are going to determine what was going on with them and with him. This is another Russia scam with all the arrows pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. So once again, this information that they tried to pull out on Trump has seemed to backfire on them. Because remember, they could have released all these files. If there was anything on Trump in them, they would have released them and taken them down then. They wouldn't need to come up with the Russia hoax and everything else that we found out, the Steele dossier and everything that was not true. So Trump now is firing back. And I hope that the Dems are going to get stung with the Epstein stuff, Mimi. I really do, because it is just too bad, and it's too bad that we have gone on this long, wasted so much time and money. Our country got in this condition from all the damage of this hiding of stuff and trying to protect people that were crooked. So this is really getting spicy and fiery. Yes, Carlene, it really is. So also put out recently this afternoon from Tim Burchett, the representative, and he said, release the Epstein files at Democrats, because remember they wanted them released. But he put out there, Democrats blocked Representative Tim Burchett unanimous consent motion today to immediately release the Epstein files under HS 577. Burchett, an oversight committee member, confirmed the objection in interviews, noting partisan delays despite GOP House control. So basically, he put out there, you guys keep saying you wanted to release these files, and yet they blocked him. So he put that out on X, I believe that it was. And he said now, noting partisan delays despite GOP House control, a discharge petition for H.R. 4405 now forces the floor to vote next week, pushing for full transparency on Epstein's associates across parties. So this is going to be very interesting. I think next week is going to be very interesting with a lot of this stuff coming out. So as we get into this, it's all Hillary, it's all Bill, it's Obama, it's the Epstein files and other things coming along. General Mike Flynn, and I posted this on our LWN Network Facebook page this afternoon, that Flynn was saying that Hillary should not have received a hall pass after the 2016 election. He said, now we know someone in Trump's 45 administration kept all this information hidden from him, from the American public, and somebody must be held accountable. Well, what information did they hold back? Well, it was put on X. Confirmation that the 600,000 Hillary emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop were 10 years of Huma Abedin's correspondence, including from the missing BlackBerry domain Hillary used during her first months as Secretary of State. Yet somehow we were expected to believe that none of it was sensitive or classified, that none of it was even remotely improper, and that the storing it all on child sex predator's laptop was somehow perfectly acceptable. And of course, we never got to see any of it ourselves. We simply were told to trust James Comey, that everything was fine. So you guys, all this information is coming out and things are breaking wide open. And I think it's exciting. It's incredible. It's a long time coming. And I think that we are starting to see action. We had the investigation over these years. Now we're seeing the action. We're seeing arrests. We're seeing subpoenas. We're seeing the data and information coming out, which has been good so far. And it's just amazing. I have a video that I'm going to attempt to play. It should play on, it's 8-minute video. But what it is Jesse Waters. And it talks about how Tulsi Gabbard has uncovered the documents that I was talking about that were hidden for 10 years, showing Obama doctored intel to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the 2016 election. So not only are we talking about Epstein files and Hillary involved, now we're talking about Obama and the Clintons and Putin in the 2016 deal. So as I get this queued up to start, I want to say thank you all for joining tonight. If you could like, share, and subscribe to the channel, that would be amazing. That's going to help us out. And also thank you to those who are supporting the channel by buying a coffee. Michelle Gale bought us a coffee tonight and said, so glad that you guys are back. So Michelle Gale, thank you so much. It helps to support this channel and keep it running on all the platforms that we want to do, and we want to do more. And we just love doing this, so thank you so much. So I am going to go and try to share this. Now, like I said, this video is 8 minutes, but I'm telling you, it is so good. There is so much in this video and so much that is breaking out. For me just to try to spew it to you guys would be almost impossible because there's zigzags and intertwining of all this going on. So, yes, Harvest Mary Moon, the Dems are trying to block the release. Yes, they are. It's, we got to keep, yes, President Trump in our prayers, because what's so sad about this is we keep finding more and more people from 2016 all the way through, even now, that have been in his administration or the three-letter branches that are corrupt, and they're still corrupt. There's still some in there. This man has been fighting a long haul. He's been fighting really hard. So let's go ahead and bring this up. Entire screen. Guys, if you can give me too a 5x5 once it starts playing to make sure that it's loud enough and everything, that would be great. So let's listen to this, and I want you guys to put your opinions in there and make comments in there, and I'll pull them up as we go along this, okay?
The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's been locked away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move. John Brennan handpicked 5 CIA analysts to write the assessment, and they were siloed. None of them knew what the other was doing. And only one analyst was in charge of drafting this report. There was nothing routine about this, and it was a rush job to publish before Trump was sworn in. Nothing was coordinated with the other intelligence agencies either. Basically, this was home cooking for Barack Obama. There were 4 key elements from the assessment that were repeated over and over again and formed the basis of the Russia hoax and the Robert Mueller witch hunt. 1, that Vladimir Putin wanted Donald Trump to win. 2, Putin took action to help Trump win. 3, the Russians had blackmail on Trump. That was the Steele dossier. And 4, that the Russians tried colluding with the Trump campaign. None of any of this was ever true. There was no reliable intelligence to support any of these allegations. Senior CIA officials repeatedly refused to traffic in these allegations, but they were repeatedly overruled by CIA Director Brennan and FBI Director Comey, who insisted that they be pushed, even without verifiable evidence. The Obama administration cherry-picked the intelligence, lied about their sources, misquoted sources, didn't corroborate their claims, suppressed intelligence that ran counter to their narratives, and even used anonymous internet postings. Rank and file CIA admitted what they were doing violated their own tradecraft standards. There was a massive pressure campaign that came right from the top. CIA analysts say they received unusual directives from political appointees, the CIA director, and Obama himself. This is how the Russia hoax was born.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016.
Putin hated Secretary Clinton so much that the flip side of that coin was he had a clear preference for the person running against the person he hated so much.
It was Russia in a very systematic way tried to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
This was such a malicious disinformation campaign perpetrated on the American people that at one point, 60% of Democrats believed the Russians hacked our voting machines to help Trump win the White House. What this report actually shows is that the Russians just wanted to create chaos and undermine Americans' faith in democracy. Solid intelligence suggested that Vladimir Putin didn't care who won. He had no preference. But like most people, expected Hillary to win and had a little docket of compromising dirt on her, dirt that he never released. Now, if Putin wanted Trump to win, why didn't Putin drop the dirt?
There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump.
Now, if Clinton was on tranquilizers like the Russians believed, why didn't they leak it to help Trump win?
How credible was the information about Hillary Clinton's power?
All I have seen is what the Intelligence Committee have reported through their investigation. I think the underlying point there is that we understand from intelligence what Russia said that they had. And the important point here is that if they were trying to influence the election, as President Obama and James Clapper and John Brennan, everybody said they were doing in order to support Donald Trump's election, they would have released the most damning of that information.
Obama and his spy chiefs knew that Putin didn't prefer Trump over Hillary, but they cooked the intelligence to make it look like he did. Obama and his intel spies knew that Putin didn't collude with Trump and that he didn't even direct his people to help Trump win. But they put it out there anyway. In a sense, Barack Obama did exactly what Putin wanted, undermined Americans' faith in free and fair elections and caused chaos in our country. Barack Obama, the CIA, and the FBI were the ones doing what our enemy wanted.
Do you believe that any of this new information implicates former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We have referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former President Obama?
Correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Even 2 years later, after the election, Barack Obama was still pushing a hoax he knew wasn't true. And he knew it wasn't true because he helped manufacture it.
They're undermining our alliances, cozying up to Russia. What happened to to the Republican Party. They're cozying up to the former head of the KGB. Actively blocking legislation that would defend our elections from Russian attack. What happened?
Now, I don't know if it's possible to indict a former president for actions he took while in office. I'm not a lawyer, proudly. But Brennan, Comey, and others may have severe liability. Trey Gowdy says we know for a fact that Brennan committed perjury when he lied to Congress.
Director Brennan, do you know who commissioned the Steele dossier?
I don't.
You know if the Bureau ever relied on the Steele dossier as part of any court filings, applications?
I have no awareness.
Did the CIA rely on it?
No.
Why not?
Because it wasn't part of the corpus of intelligence information that we had. It was not in any way used as a basis for the intelligence community assessment that was done. It was not.
Well, that's a lie. Whatever happens to these guys is not revenge. It's accountability.
So can you believe that, you guys watching that? Does that not infuriate you to watch how much they lied? Just in that little clip, I thought Jesse Waters did a fantastic job and his people and team putting all this together, because it is so, like I said, intertwined, and you got names flinging all over. You've got all these, Hillary. How about Hillary? It comes out that Hillary has psychoemotional issues, anger issues and stuff, and they think that she was on tranquilizers a lot of the time. And I think I told the story about somebody I used to work for the Clintons, and he saw Hillary like whip a glass ashtray at Bill across the room in the Oval Office when he was standing there. He was like Secret Service or Capitol Police or something like that. But he was in the room when she had a temper fit, and he said that unfortunately nobody liked Hillary, that she was evil, she was mean, she was nasty, she was never nice to anybody, let alone Bill. So I just find that how it makes more sense if she has psychoemotional issues, and they all kept this quiet. How about the twists and turns that it took, that Obama is actually accused of allegedly spearheading all of this stuff? It is just disgusting to me. And when I saw this, I thought, my God, the amount of time, effort, money, lies, and energy that went into all of this over the years. If they would have just put the effort into just being kind, normal leaders, elected leaders, doing what's right for the country and the people that they represent, think of how much further ahead this country would be. Now, after seeing this and after all this coming out, now Trump isn't a perfect man. He's never going to be a perfect man. Nobody is. I don't agree with the things he does all the time, but the difference is I trust that he wants to do what's best for this country. I know that he's on kind of slippery ice with some things, that decisions he made regarding Israel, some decisions he's made about the Epstein files, but now this is exactly what I was going to say right here, Deborah. Is it the big boomerang? Because Trump is like, we're not going to, what Epstein files? And remember, everybody got pissed at him, like, what are you talking about? And then all Pam Bondi saying she had all the files, and then she didn't have the files, and all the stuff we've been going through about the Epstein. When Trump actually made a comment, you guys are still talking about Epstein. Remember that in the Oval Office after he was done signing something? He's like, are you guys still worried about that? Well, now come to find out it's the big boomerang. I believe that because all this dirty laundry's now come out, and people are they messed around, and I think that they are gonna find out. The FAFO, I'm not going to say the word. And yes, Ronnie, Dan Bongino used to talk about a disgusting how Hillary was, and he was on her Secret Service detail. That's true. And, I think that the president is really trying to do the right thing by the people. And when I see things like this come out after all these years, think about that man. He's known a lot of this stuff for many years and still chose to run again. Don't forget the day after day, the rallies that he did to turn this country around, to be out there fighting for America. Don't forget that. Noella, what did you say? He always puts someone in the light to do his work so others will believe it. Very true. That is very true. So I've got another little clip here that it ties into this as well about Hillary's emails, because remember, all those emails were missing, right? But I talked earlier in the show about the 600,000 emails that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop. We remember that. So what's refreshing about this, you guys, it's almost like we can start breathing a little bit of sigh of relief, because the things that we have seen and thought over the years are coming into fruition. We always know that Trump says everything has to be done because this land is the rule of law and order. There's a process they have to follow. Would we like to see everybody slapped with handcuffs and taken care of? Absolutely, we would. But that's not the reality. But I'm just thinking, all this finally gets taken care of, even though we got a few short years to do it. Think of how much better this country is going to be. Think about how much more money we're going to have for our country, stopping all this money going to weird foundations and weird studies that make no sense at all. But let's go ahead and bring this little video in. It's only 1:43. And you guys, if you can give me the 5x5 again, I would really appreciate it. And yeah, Noletta, I think they are peeling the layers off the onion, and it's refreshing. It's making my eyes water in a happy way. So let's go ahead and do this and see entire screen. Okay, 5x5, please.
Track down Hillary Clinton's missing emails. Brand new revelations seem to suggest that, at least at one point, they had them. We just got a big disclosure as the United States Department of Justice undertakes its prosecution of James Comey. This comes to us from the courthouse. It's an email between Daniel Richman and James Comey. He says there were 600,000 emails on Weiser's computer, and they included 10 years of Huma Abedin's emails. He misspells Abedin here. He gives it an extra D. There's a pattern here. He's intentionally misspelling these names, including emails with Hillary Rodham Clinton, HRC he refers to her as. And that metadata shows are from the missing BlackBerry. But here's the biggest thing of all, in addition to his attempt to hide this. One of the reasons that you can imagine he's trying to hide it is because of what it references. It references that they found the missing emails. The FBI was in possession of the, quote, missing, end quote, emails. Over 600,000 on what Comey referred to as Weiser's computer. That would be Anthony Weiner's computer. So all these years of like, where are the missing emails? Where are the missing emails? Well, it sure looks like that at one point at least, the FBI had them. And the question for us today is, does the FBI still have them? Hillary Clinton attempted to destroy all of this. There's a reason for that. Hillary Clinton was desperate, clearly, to prevent the public from knowing what she was actually up to. So the question today remains, does the FBI still have access to all of these emails? Makes you wonder, but it certainly suggests very heavily that at one point they were in the FBI's custody.
So you guys, what do you think? Do you think that the FBI had them, she never was able to get rid of all of them and wipe them out, and they just buried them, and now they found them again? What do you guys think about that? Not even the email situation is cut and dry and clear. Like, everything about this last administration and before has been such corruption and such hiding of things and such lies and financial drain. It's just like I really am today. My head was spinning just listening to Jesse's video and remembering all the lies we were told and all that Trump went through, all of us that we went through. It's crazy to me. And I just think that, obviously God is good. God's in control, and I have faith. And, sometimes just when you're ready to give up, you just have to keep going, because all this being exposed and people, these are the big people, you guys. There's not anybody besides the Bushes. It's still remained quiet on the Bushes, because remember that card that was handed out at Bush Sr.'s funeral, and Trump was the only one that didn't get one. The Clintons got one, the Bushes got one, the Obamas got one. We still have to find out what exactly was on that card, in that card. That's the one thing. The Bushes haven't been brought up much lately, but dang, all the chiefs of staff, all these different people that were surrounding these administrations are getting arrested. They're getting subpoenas and things are going on. It's almost like they're working their way to the top. And somebody in chat earlier had said they're going to sing. Some of these people are going to sing, and I believe they will, because this is treason and so many other counts. Like I said, that one ex-chief of staff of Newsom got arrested. She had 23 counts. I mean, and it's not just lying to the American people. It's taking our money. It's coming up with fake foundations, and what's being done with the money in those foundations is taking advantage of the PPP loans during the COVID pandemic. I mean, it just goes on and on. Every single layer, it seems like, of our country over the years has been just saturated with toxic waste, and it is like a swamp. It's terrible. Cheshire's Insight, it's a RICO case. That makes more sense. That was a RICO case over what they were trying to push on Trump. And don't forget, we've still got stuff going on with the 2020 election too. But it seems like 1 week it's subpoenas, 1 week it's judges, 1 week it's about 2020. Each week has it seems like its own vestibule that just starts running with something. And I'll tell you what, the media, so-called media, which we know isn't real anyways, couldn't wait to bite on the Epstein stuff and put Trump out there. I glanced through some of the headlines of like CBS, ABC, and these other news media outlets. Boy, they think we are stupid after all this time that we are going to bite down on what they are trying to serve us about Trump and the Epstein and these stupid emails that went back and forth between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and Michael Wolff. You know, that's desperation, and that's just another layer of lies, it seems, that they're trying to put together to take Trump down. Like, we're going to buy it. You can't tell me or any of you in chat, because you guys are very smart and on top of this too, that they were going to hold all that back and come up with a fake Russia dossier and Steele dossier and Russia collusion when they had that about Epstein and Trump right away. They wouldn't have to waste all that time, effort, and money to do all that if they had the dirt on Trump, and they didn't. So that's what I have to cover for that. And before we get to the next little segment here, I got to play this AOC clip, because it made me laugh. And all the seriousness and frustration that's going on out there. You know, she just seems to be really happy in this little video. So I'm going to share it with you guys to see if you agree with her and think that what she's saying is the truth. Let's see, Cheshire, yep, the first info was drip, drip, drip. Now it's starting to flood. And then nothing is ever deleted after the Patriot Act, Tammy, stored and logged. Yeah, I believe that's been for a long time. Even before that, we've been, I think, looked at and listened to and watched for a very long time before we caught on. Okay, so let's listen to AOC and see what she's up to and what's been on her mind lately. 5x5 one more time, guys, and this is the last video, please.
I want to say this right now. I fully welcome Trump voters into our coalition. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, but just hear me out. I cannot tell you, it just happened to me like 2 weeks ago. I can't tell you how many times someone has pulled me aside and said either I was once a big Trump voter and a Trump supporter, and I watched Fox News every day, but then I started to kind of expand my world and where I got information, and now I've learned, and now I've changed, and I'm with you, and I learn from you. Or people who meet me who are really big Republicans now, and they are shocked when they meet me because they're like, you are nothing like I was told you are. And you start to see the cogs turning, that maybe everything that they had been told from this one channel or this one ecosystem isn't the whole truth. And it is enough to spark a curiosity that makes people want to go down a longer journey of learning. I want to say this right now.
So what do you guys think? Yeah, it's funny because she is getting thick, but I thought, you know what? She's her being a happy-go-lucky person there. She's just like, not like there's nothing going on in the world that's bothering her, and people are coming up to her and liking her and realizing that she's the cat's meow. And oh my gosh, it just made me laugh. I had to laugh because to be so out of touch and believe in herself the way she does in the lies that she tells herself makes her that happy. That just made me laugh. It was really something. And yes, United, I'd love to see her do a Tucker show too. And what is she smoking? I know, it's crazy. My God, what'd she say here? This is moving too fast. What she's smoking. My God, women, we have already taken the journey and ended up here. Yeah, so I mean, it's just, I thought it was a little bit of humor that we could just kind of look at and say, man, I'm glad I'm not like that. You know what? Exactly, Grace, she makes $224,000 a year. I'd be thrilled too, right? She doesn't have a worry in the world, really. She's just like, whatever. I make this money. I'm having a good time. People like me now. It was interesting. So, I'm going to go on to the next little segment here. Now, this one, you know, if you have kids in the room, you might want to have them leave the room or just use caution because this is going to be talking about is something very serious. Tim Tebow saving the kids. And I saw this clip from the Sean Ryan show. So you guys, Tom Ryan, I used to work with Tom Ryan. Sean Ryan has a lot of good interviews lately. Tucker has been insanely crazy with his interviews. They've been good too, from some concerning interviews. And I'm not saying we have to agree with anything these people say, but the people that they're interviewing and the facts that they come to the panel with have been incredible. And Tim Tebow, I remember him talking back in the day about kids and saving the kids from these evil predators, right? Well, this story just made me so sick, but he said we still have a lot going on evil against our children. So on his show, he showed Sean Ryan a map. Now, the map that he was showing Sean Ryan, and you can look this show up too if you want more information, because I'm just going to give a brief synopsis of this. I'm just trying to bring awareness to it, and I'm kind of PO'd about it stalling once they submitted this, but I'll get to that. So he showed a map. It has 111,000 IP addresses that downloaded children corn of kids, because I can't say the word that begins with the P, so I'll say corn, of the kids under 12 years old in just the past 30 days. So at the time of this interview that just happened, Tim called on Congress to take action. 55 to 85% of these offenders are hands-on offenders. And the average offender, individual offender, has 13 victims in their lifetime. So every red dot on the map that he showed represented a boy or girl that was suffering on the other end of what they were sharing, downloading, or distributing. And this is in the USA, mind you. Okay, so he said all across the country, this map was inundated with red dots. Each red dot was an individual IP address, downloading the corn and sharing and distributing it. That was 111,000, you guys, in 30 days. Once again, these kids are 12 and under. Many of them in 30 days were from the U.S. only. The map that he was showing is actually an actual DOJ map, law enforcement map. It's called the Red Dot Map. So Tebow is trying to get the Renewed Hope Act passed through Congress. And to me, it's a no-brainer. And I don't know why it hasn't been passed already. Tim was saying that there are only 7 officers working this at C3, and this ICAC needs more funding to help with all this. So he said there crimes against children, there are 62 total ICAC agencies across the country. But he said if they can get the Renewed Hope Act passed through Congress and into legislation passed into law, that the 7 officers will turn into 200 officers. And he said these officers obviously are specially trained and equipped to battle the evil and deal with these kids. Noella said she thinks it's done. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I looked up, and you can tell me if I'm wrong about this. If it did pass, that would be great. But this was just an interview that he just did on Sean Ryan, and it was recent. So he said this is brutal, brutal abuse of children. He said that they have to do these individual IP addresses. Remember, this is the United States only that he's talking about, not out there in the world. He said they have to do a lot of work with this. It's not like these people stumble by this by accident. These numbers are accurate because you have to download each individual image, then you have to share it, and you have to do all this stuff. So he said, we have over 50,000 missing boys and girls, and over 3,000 missing are infants and toddlers. He felt we should even declare a national emergency to take this over and take care of this because it's our own backyards. He said, then when we get into live streaming this abuse, the sick, twisted sickness that these people do to these children and babies, he said that the U.S. is the #1 payer of live streaming for the abuse against boys and girls. He said when it comes to peer-to-peer sharing, that the U.S. is 3rd in the world, China is 1st, and then Russia. He said, so he's been working on this. So I looked this up, and what I found was it was introduced in the House Judiciary on September 10th of 2024, and then it was referred to the House Committee on the Judiciary. And from what I saw, those are the only 2 actions that have been taken in over a year. So if I missed something, please let me know. But I did look it up, and I would think that I would know, or it would be more well known if everything is well and taken care of, that we would know more about these agents and all that. But like I said, maybe it's somewhere. I looked it up from the link that Tim Tebow gave, and I looked it up, and that's all I saw. It was only 2 actions, active actions, and those were it. So even though this is a hard subject to talk about, the reason I bring it up is because these numbers are sickening to me. We always talk about how 1 child is too much, but babies and infants, and having 50,000 missing, and having the individual perpetrator in their lifetime affecting 13 of these children, this should have been a long done deal if it's not already. There should be no tolerance of abusing a kid, a baby, a toddler, defenseless innocents, ever. Let me see, John, the legislation is called the Renewed Hope Act. I don't have the number on it, but it is Tim Tebow's Renewed Hope Act, and he's trying to get it passed through Congress. So when you go to that Gov site, it is on there, and it's got a number, but I don't know any more than that. So I would love to find that out more. I just think that it's just criminal of us as humans to allow this kind of stuff to continue. It is heartening, and as hard as it is to talk about, we all have kids, grandkids, it goes on and on. We all are well aware, and it isn't something that's just happening out there once in a while, which is bad enough. It's in our own backyard. So I commend Tim Tebow for working on that and pushing that forward. And like I said, you guys can look up the Sean Ryan show that he's in it and get the full interview on it. But I just wanted to bring it to the attention. Oh yeah, what was the name of the movie of children trafficking? I forget the name of that, but that was the other guy. That was a true story. I forget the name of that as well. But let's just put it this way. There's a lot of stuff out there, not just with Tim Tebow, what he's trying to do, but across the world and stuff. And I know that during the Super Bowl in Atlanta, the airport is the biggest hub for, unfortunately, child sex trafficking in the country. So, you know, that's terrifying to me as well. Sound of Freedom. There we go. Outlandish Patriot said Sound of Freedom. Oh, Outlandish Patriot put that up there. S515, 5015 and House HR 9523. So that's good. So the last thing, couple things I want to talk about real quick here was who's likely to get the $2,000 checks, because this has been going back and forth because the president has put it out there. He's committed to doing it. Press Secretary Caroline Levitt just said, I think it was Wednesday, that the president's committed to sending all Americans a check. Well, it's not going to be all Americans. So that's why I think there gets to be confusion, because U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he offered clarification on it this week, who is going to get and they're a proposed stimulus check from the Trump administration. So it would be for families making $100,000 or less. The secretary also noted the administration had not yet decided on an official income threshold for those who may potentially receive this proposed stimulus, but that's currently in discussion. So basically, Trump is saying what he wants done, but Bessent, Treasury Secretary, is saying nothing's been decided yet, that they're still working on it. He said, what we did with the tax bill is actually financing the president's no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, and the big free funds you're going to get and see are a result of that. So that's another payment, he said, to the American people. Then he said that this was very interesting. First, he said the tax bill Bessent was referring to was the One Big Beautiful Bill. But this is interesting, too, because Bessent also was referring to an upcoming Trump accounts that is going to be launched in 2026. He said every born child for the next 3 years is going to get a $1,000 account, and that's going to be invested into the United States stock market. So that's another $1,000 for working families, Bessent said. So earlier this week, Trump promised to issue a dividend to middle-class Americans, and he planned to draw from the multi-billion-dollar stream of tariff revenue his administration collected in 2025. So it's kind of up in the air. What Trump wants to do, but can it be done? He said, Trump did say that we're going to issue a dividend to our middle income people and lower income people about $2,000. And we're going to use the remaining tariffs to lower our debt. However, this is the sticking point to it as well, you guys. This is like when you dive deeper into it. Does it sound good? Does it sound wonderful? Yes. But the proposed dividend is going to need congressional approval, just as the COVID-era stimulus checks did in 2020 during the first Trump administration. So that can be the little hiccup that can come along. You know what I mean? So we have to wait and see. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about, this is a little something that is positive. Kristi Noem, there's a video out there. It was so good. She issued $10,000 bonus checks to TSA agents who refused to call out sick during the shutdown. Really, I think it's deserved. It's one of the most deserved bonus checks that you could give somebody. These men and women held the entire aviation system together while the Democrats played political games. They stayed on the job without pay. They kept security moving. And I think they showed a lot of integrity, certainly more integrity than a lot of people in Congress. She talked to several agents in the Portland during the shutdown, and she said once, told me she picked up extra shifts because she refused to let travelers pay the price for DC's chaos. And that's true. DC has a lot of chaos, and unfortunately, we're the ones that pay the price for it. Another talked about having to delay her family's move because she didn't have a paycheck incoming, and she still showed up every day to work. So I think these bonus checks, she said now with this bonus check, they'll finally be able to move and get in their new home. She said that it's life-changing. So I think that was a wonderful thing to do. I think rewarding people when they keep working under the conditions that we've been facing lately, that's commendable, because the Dems didn't do that. They kept Congress shut down for political reasons. It's been proven political reasons. There's some stuff that came out that people went to Chuck Schumer and said to Schumer, we need to open this up. And he had the opportunity to open it up. And a lot of, even some of the Dems wanted to. And he said, no, we're holding out. They don't care about us. And I don't care what side you're on. If you don't care about the American people, there's no way in high heck you should be holding an office or a position. And there should be some way to go through some kind of justice to be able to yank these people the hell out of their seats. Because it's one thing to say something to get elected into your seat, but if you don't abide by the oath of office that you take, we should be able to get them the hell out. And that's how I feel about it. Being kind and bending over backwards has never done this country any good. You look at the money that we've given, the money we've lost, the men and women we've lost in wars that weren't even our business to be in, and it goes on and on. So I'm having hope that the page is turning, that we're going to have a good New Year, let's just say. Let's some of this stuff going through Christmas and through Thanksgiving, and I know it's going to take years to get it straightened out, but hopefully we'll have a good Christmas because justice will have been being served to some of these people, and that's all there is to it. And yes, we should be able to, that's my whole point, fire them just like we hired them to work for us if they suck. Yeah, if we go into a job and we get hired and they find out we've lied about our talents or what we can do, or we don't perform the way we should, they can fire our butts. It doesn't matter. Sometimes it isn't even us. They're just downsizing and they don't have to give us notice or anything. So why does the government have to be that way? And that might be an option, Harvest, is to the disqualification clause, the yanks them out of their seats. And Noletta says, we've always been the pawns in their game, and that's so very true. It is true. But also we have to remember, and we've talked about this as well, federal government got too powerful and too strong. The states were supposed to be individualized states with their own set of laws and rules, and when we need a hand up, we reach out to the federal government and they were to help us. And if you read through the Constitution and you pay attention to that Chris Ann Hall, who I talk about a lot, you see how crooked everything is and how all of our politicians sold out. That's not just a saying. How much power our sheriffs actually have, as long as they're on the up and up. Nothing surpasses the sheriff. The sheriff can do a lot of things. And during the shutdown, we read stories and we looked through stories about sheriffs that protected churches to keep them open in certain areas, that the local police were there to show intimidation to people that were showing up to church and stuff. But the sheriff stood there in a couple of places and they blocked them from doing anything. So we really have a lot of work to do. We really do. We just can't get overwhelmed because it's all worth it. It is big, and they were going over we the people. That's true. None of us, the majority of us don't want that. The majority of us voted for President Donald Trump and exactly what he's doing. So all these judges and all these people, even Republicans that are throwing hissy fits, we know why they're throwing hissy fits. It's not because they care about this country. It's because they're paid for. They are corrupt. And we want them out. We're just done seeing it. We're done and over it. So we want a better future. Honest people have nothing to hide. Truthful people aren't afraid of truth. You know, we have no problem discussing and talking and having conversations. It's the people that are corrupt and crooked that don't want the light shined on them. And I think after tonight, after seeing some of this with subpoenas and having the names that we've been praying would get exposed, have been exposed, but really, the big thing that got me, because, you know, Trump goes through so much scrutiny for his health and his mental capabilities. If Hillary really had psychoemotional problems and was taking tranquilizers and throwing rantings and ravings to me, and they kept that quiet, how is that fair? How is that fair? So yes, we should. Amen. We should turn the power back to states and local government. It's not everybody's cup of tea to have this knowledge or know about this. I understand that. But when you watch shows like this or you listen to John and you find out how messed up it is, and it is within our power. It's like, but what do we do? What do we do? So we get involved locally. That's what we do to make the change. We get to know our sheriffs. We've talked about that. There are things that we can do. This country will be saved. As Stephen K. Bannon always says in his intro, if your call of duty is to save this country and you listen to that call of duty, this country will be saved. And we can do it because we, the people, are the governing ones. We are the ones, not the people that we put in these seats. We elect them. They're one person. We, the people, are America. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Before I do, please hit the share, like, and subscribe button. Share this out if you would, pretty please. And if you have already, thank you so much. Also, thank you for the coffee donations. I really appreciate that. So does LW. And just really thank you for joining me this Friday evening. I'm glad that I was able to come on and share this information with you guys. And I just really appreciate the support all the way around. So does LW. So for now, we are going to check out. Have a beautiful, wonderful, peaceful weekend, you guys. Take care. God bless. And we will see you on the next one.